Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Today is Wednesday, the 10th of June, 2020. And listen, how will wars be waged in our future? You know, the world's elite, the leaders of the world, they know that this looming threat overhangs society today. Of the nuclear arsenal, which is known as MAD, which means mutually assured destruction. They don't want to die. They're smart enough to know, but they do want to wage war. So how will wars be waged in the future? How will one country wage a war? Well, I'll tell you how I think that they'd wage wars in the future. I think what they would do is they'd do it in a way so that the people in the countries didn't know that they were at war. They would keep it secret. They would avoid it becoming a hot war that comes out in the open so that everybody can see it. And what they would do is they would use subversive measures. And the ultimate goal in the modern warfare of the future would be to take down the country you're attacking's government and bring about what's called regime change. That's what the ultimate goal would be, to change or modify the country that's being attacked. And what they would do is they would use subversive measures as warfare measures. They would use things like bioengineering. They would possibly create new species of insects to attack the food supply. And the country, of course, is being attacked because it would all be on the QT2, keep it quiet, that there's actually a war. They would tell the people, oh, these new type of bugs, whatever, say it's a beetle that's attacking our corn crop. They would say this is a freak of nature. Nature made this. When in truth, in reality, what it would be is the opposing country made it in their biotech laboratories and released it on the country that they're attacking. But that would be kept secret. And the masses would never know. And so they'd have to give a cover story for the masses. They'd have to say, oh, these new type of weevils or whatever type of insects it is that's attacking our corn crops or whatever, nature made it. From what? I don't know. So there'd be new types of insects appearing and stuff like that. Also, they would use possibly in the bio labs, they're not limited to insects. They can use different types of bacteria that they can genetically alter, or viruses, or a number of other things that they can do, and that would be, the attacks would come in waves, with the citizens of the country never knowing that they're at war on either side. But like I say, at the end, the ultimate goal of all of this would be regime change in the country that's being attacked. Whichever country, and the later stages of the attack would evolve where they would plant people within the country, the other country, the opposing country, would put cells or groups of people within the other country that they were attacking on the QT, and these groups would try to subvert the government, bring the government down. Because that was what the ultimate goal would be. They would use anything that's available to them. This kind of warfare could go along for years without being undetected by the civilian population within a country. But at a certain point, it might escalate, especially if both sides are equally powerful. It might escalate to a certain point at a certain time in the future where it does become a hot war. And they can't keep it secret any longer, That's what a war in the future would probably look like, because they don't want to use their nuclear arsenal. They want to obtain victory without using their nuclear arsenals. So even if it did become a hot war on the ground, with boots on the ground, and they actually did finally in the end declare war, even then they wouldn't use their nuclear weapons. They would sort of fight it out with conventional forces. But it would also heat up the other part of the warfare, where they possibly would be using electromagnetic weapons, would be at their availability too. And they would tell all the people in the country, hey, Uh, we weren't attacked. That EMP that knocked out all of our power for such a large area in the country, they would say that was the sun did it. The sun did it. They would always blame it on something else. Like if the bugs attacked the crops, they would say, "Well, this new species of bug, Mother Nature created it," when it was actually created in a laboratory. And when the EMP hits, they would say, "Oh, the sun spit out a solar flare." They would even go to such extents to keep a secret from the people that they're really at war, that they would go in to the scientists and stuff, and they would spin this fake story about how the sun did it. The sun knocked our power out, and so on and so forth it would go. But the people would be feeling the effects of this hidden warfare. And that's how war in the future will probably evolve. We're not going to go without war. But we're not going to have an all-out nuclear holocaust either. Those nuclear weapons are just going to sit in those bunkers, gathering dust. Even if World War III were to start, those nuclear weapons are going to sit in the bunkers gathering dust, because the world leaders know if they ever launch a nuclear attack, an all-scale nuclear attack, they know that they're going to die too. And you can trust me on this one, that world leaders are not courageous. They're the opposite of that. Completely. They're frightened to death. They're the first ones to. They're like George Costanza on Seinfeld when he ran out trampled over everybody to get out of the burning place, and he pushed over an old lady or whatever to get out. That's what they're like, So it ain't gonna come to that. Anyway, listen, guys, let's get into the markets. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. Gold price today for $1,718. It's up $4.20 on the day so far. We're gonna take a look at silver. Excuse me, 1776. Gee, that sounds like the year America became America, 1776. Anyway, 1776, up 21 cents for silver today. And so gold and silver are looking good. Yeah, they're going to be looking good. The hyperinflation's already begun. It's in the stock market. Stock market's hyperinflating, but it hasn't translated into the dollar yet. Cryptocurrency market capitalizations, $277.5 billion, 64.8% Bitcoin dominance. We're looking at a Bitcoin price today at $97.73. Still going along kind of sideways, just under $10,000 for cryptocurrencies. Let's take a look now at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's down 157 points on the day, with 42% of the American working force out of work right now. And the stock market is only down 157 points. It's up near all-time highs, 27,114. Let's take a look now at oil. 38.91 for oil. It's down 3 cents on the day so far. And that's sweet light crude. The dollar. 96.18. It's getting almost ready to go down below into the 95s on the U.S. dollar index. And that's the biggest part of the U.S. dollar index is the euro. And that's with them printing 1.2 billion new euros. And the dollar's still falling against the euro. Even though it's the best of the fiat currencies. It's the best one. It's the most solid of all the fiat currencies, is the U.S. dollar. And we're seeing it's depreciating in value against other fiat currencies. Let's take a look at U.S. Treasuries today. And we're seeing Treasury yields dropping about 5.5 basis points. 4.8 basis point drop on the U.S. 10-year. It's at 0.78, and we're looking at a drop on the U.S. 30-year of 5.8 basis points, and it's at 1.52 on the U.S. 30-year. Okay, guys, listen. We're in quite a situation here, and I cannot see any sort of improvement in the economic outlook without it bringing inflation now at this point. You know, the only way we're going to be able to stay and keep away from heavy inflation is if the economy continues to sink. But it can only sink so far before it finally starts to bounce back a little bit. As soon as the economy starts to bounce back, first off, the Fed can't let off the pedal. They have to keep pumping that money out there. They got no choice. And with the economy, as soon as the economy starts to pick up, we're going to see that velocity of money start to pick up a little bit. All the money that they've printed, we're going to start to see the effect of it. You know, and banks, from what I hear, they're lowering the reserve requirements on banks. Plus, banks have unlimited access to money now at this point, practically unlimited access to money. It means all they need to do at a certain point is find people that are willing to borrow, you know, and I mean, with very low interest rates, you know, that's the real money multiplier comes from the banks. See, we've been in a bit of a deflationary funk. It goes back to more than just the virus. It goes back to when the Fed started doing the repo market madness. That was because the banks were tightening up their lending policies and stuff. The banks were hauling their horns in. And the banks are the biggest manufacturers of money, even bigger than the Fed, you know. And once the banks start to come out of that phase and start to use their money multiplier again, when we add that on to what the Fed's already doing, we're going to see more dollars floating around in the system than you can shake a stick at. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.